What's going on, guys? It's Tommy, and I'm coming at you with an action figure review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Hasbro The Black Series Carbonized Ned-B and Purge Trooper 2-pack from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Not really from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I guess, because even though the characters are both original designs from that series, these are not canon looks. These are part of the garbage Carbonized collection from the Black Series. Now, you may be wondering why I bought this if I think Carbonized is trash. That's because I collect every variant of the Imperial Troopers for the Black Series line, so I count this one as one that I would need, so not even going to be displaying this Ned-B, I'm going to be displaying this Purge Trooper, and I figured why not just review the 2-pack. This was an Amazon exclusive, I believe. I did get this on a very deep discount recently, so I figured, again, I would review it for the channel because I got it for a cheap price. This is the plastic-free packaging that Hasbro did for a little bit around the time the Obi-Wan Kenobi series dropped, and this was something that was kind of stupid because part of the big draw to the Carbonized collection was looking at the figures in the window, and then they removed that, and so now there really isn't a reason to buy the Carbonized figures when they're in the plastic-free. It seems like they've completely done away with Carbonized now, but, you know, who knows, they might bring it back again out of the woodwork. But, you know, so here it is. This is what used to be the standard 2-pack style packaging for the Black Series. You have your Black Series logo at the top. You have a picture of both of the characters, your little Carbonized badge here, a little silver chrome badge showing the Obi-Wan Kenobi name, and then you have the characters' names down here, and of course they have their little blurb for plastic-free packaging. On this slanted side of the packaging, you have the Ned-B portrait, and then on this side of the packaging, you have the Purge Trooper portrait. And then on the back of the box, this is the one thing I do miss about the plastic-free packaging, is these little diagrams on the side here that show you pretty much everything you're going to get with these figures, and it gives you the heights as well, which is cool. It does also have a bio for each of the characters, and the one for Ned-B reads, "Though he isn't programmed to speak, towering loader droid Ned-B finds other ways to express himself and prove his loyalty to those he deems worthy." And for the Purge Trooper, it says, "Handpicked from the Stormtrooper legions for their aptitude and allegiance, Purge Troopers serve the Inquisitors, hunting down Jedi and other Force-sensitive beings." And again, you have the name of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, you have some glam shots again of the figures, and then on the bottom you have more legalese, and then you have the full blurb telling you all about how awesome the plastic-free packaging was, so awesome that it didn't even last a year. But with that being said, guys, let's get this thing opened and check out these figures. Alright, here's our lovely 2-pack out of the box. The first thing we're going to do before we check out the figures is, of course, check out the accessories. Now, Ned-B comes with technically 3 accessories, the first one being his backpack that you would attach to the figure. It's done in a very, very bright metallic yellow with some nice gunmetal gray paint applications and some pale blue paint applications as well. And then, of course, you have the peg that's going to fit into his back. We'll check that out just a little bit later. He does come with an E5 blaster rifle. This is the Battle Droid blaster rifle. This one is done in a very metallic gunmetal gray sculpt, and again, no paint applications or wash on this, just, I guess you'd call this the carbonized version. And finally, he comes with his hammer, and this hammer actually has some cool paint applications. You've got some nice kind of wood color as well as the same gunmetal gray kind of darker color down on the handle here, and other than that, you know, just a hammer, but the design of the sculpt looks very nice. Our Purge Trooper is interesting because he doesn't come with the same blaster that the regular Purge Trooper comes with from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. This guy just comes with your standard E11 blaster rifle. This is the newer version they've been doing with the extended magazine and then also the flashlight attachment. And this one even has a scope with a little bit of an attachment at the top too. So very interesting design, again, in that same gunmetal gray plastic sculpt with no wash or paint applications whatsoever. With accessories off to the side, let's now check out Ned-B. So Ned-B is done in a very, again, that same yellow metallic color that we saw before, and it looks like the kind of mechanical bits are a bit more metallic looking. I guess that's what they're calling carbonized for this guy. You'll see he does have some paint applications for the photo reception receptors here. He does have that same pale blue color scheme going on, some on the lower left arm and then some up on the chest. And then aside from that, dude, I mean, aside from some of the weathering, he really doesn't have much for paint applications. It's a pretty barren figure. As far as articulation goes, he does have a double ball jointed neck, so he can look down just a little bit. He can look straight ahead, can't really look up at all. He can tilt his head ever so slightly and then also turn his head side to side. He does not feature butterfly joints, ladies and gentlemen, but he does feature shoulder armor, I guess shoulder plating that's on an O-ring system here. And then what you do with that is when you lift up the arms, they move out of the way on their own. He can get to almost 90 degrees there, and then of course he can swivel the arms all the way around. He does have a single jointed elbow which can hyperextend as well as bend forward about 90 degrees. There is an elbow swivel feature there as well. And then of course he does have some hinge joints at the wrists. These are horizontal hinge joints, which I guess are stuck a little bit. You got to be careful with those. Both arms are identical to one another in that way. He's got a ball joint in the midsection, which has some really nice range. He's got ball joints at the hips, which have some decent range. They just are, kind of screwed up a little bit by the leg plating here. He does have a thigh swivel hidden underneath the kind of leg plating. And then he does have single jointed knees. These knees will get you to about a little less than 90 degrees of a bend, and then they can also hyperextend a bit. And they do feature a swivel at both the top of the knee and the bottom of the knee. And then at the bottom towards the ankle here, you do have a forward facing pin for rocker, a hinge that lets you move the ankle forward a bit and back a bit. Pretty standard. I mean, for a droid, the design of the droid is cool, and to me it's very Star Wars. It's just a shame that I'm not a fan of the carbonized version. I'll compare side by side with the regular versions of both these figures, but this is just the carbonized Ned-B for you. Now taking a look at our Purge Trooper, and this is technically the Phase 2 Purge Trooper. So what you've got is, some very nice metallic gunmetal gray here as opposed to just the stark black. I like this. I think this is cool. I think that these carbonized figures do a lot better when they are troopers wearing armor instead of being characters that are not wearing armor. I like the comma. I think the comma is a great choice here. I like that they're painted their little reds on there, and they do look really nice and they pop nicely on this figure. Again, you're not going to have much of a paint application on this figure just because of the way the character is designed. He does also have this loose pauldron here, which is an interesting touch. This guy has a double ball jointed neck as well. This one can look down quite a bit and he can look up a bit as well. He's got some good tilt to his head as well as the ability to twist that head side to side. He does have some butterfly joints, which are hidden underneath the kind of torso here, and those do have some decent range once you kind of unlock them. The shoulder armor here is connected to the biceps, so you can actually make it ride up and over, so he can get to that 90 degree mark there, and they do swivel a full 360 degrees. He does have single jointed deep cut elbows, which do get you to 90 degree bend, and they have a swivel. In the right hand, he does have a vertical hinge for the wrist, and he's got a horizontal hinge on the left wrist. He does have a ball joint at the midsection as well, so that's going to give you some nice range. The belt is a loose overlay. Again, we see that soft goods comma down here, and all that's going to get out of the way of the ball joint at the hip. So you're going to get some decent range out of that ball joint there. He's got a twist for a swivel at the leg here, and then he's got those single jointed deep cut knees, which do get you past that 90 degree mark for the bend. Those do feature a swivel as well. And then of course down at the ankles here, we do have a forward facing pin for rocker as well as a hinge, which is going to get you just a little bit of forward and just a little bit of back. If you have the 2020 Clone Trooper, that's essentially what this figure is, with just a couple minor updates, and that's what you can expect from this guy. All right, let's kit these guys out, shall we? So you'll see there's a matching peg hole for the jetpack, so it shows you right side up, and then these two little cables here you're actually going to just push into place, and just like that, Ned-B looks great with his backpack attached. It does not make him too back heavy. If you want to use the E5 blaster rifle, you're just going to put that into his right hand here, and you just kind of have to fudge it. There's no real way that this blaster actually fits into his hand. What I do is I usually kind of fit the first finger into the trigger guard, and to me it looks good enough. Ned-B will pose. You know, in the show, he just kind of holds it out in front of him when he's blasting, so that's really all you can do with it. The hammer you can put into his left hand. The hammer looks like it's kind of made a little more for the left hand, so he can actually carry both of his accessories at the same time, which is great too. As far as our Purge Trooper goes here, he holds the E11 in the right hand pretty nicely. And you can see he can hold that, passes the shake test, and you can also make him hold it in 2 hands very easily. So you can have him at the ready for battle as well. We'll get these guys in just a couple poses here. Here's a couple simple poses for these guys. I've got Ned-B charging with the hammer, and I do have the Purge Trooper in a high ready stance. He's ready to go into battle himself. Here I've got these guys in some really cool one-legged running poses. They are both, I'd imagine, maybe Ned-B's running T'Challa, even though his character doesn't really run, and Purge Trooper is obviously again running into battle. Super cool poses here, and I even flipped up the comma, soft goods comma here, so it looks like it's blowing in the wind as the Purge Trooper's running. For comparison's sake, on the left here we have the standard deluxe release for Ned-B, and on the right we have our carbonized version. To me, there's not enough of a difference. I mean, yes, the carbonized version definitely looks a little more metallic, but aside from that, I don't feel like there's enough here to really make you want to get the carbonized one over the regular one. And then of course here we've got the Purge Trooper. Here on the left we have the original Walmart exclusive release, and then on the right we have the carbonized version. These two look a lot closer to one another in a good way. I think if you want a more metallic version that pops, you could definitely get the carbonized version. I think he'd still blend in nicely with the other Purge Troopers. But again, this is what I think carbonized should be right here. Just a more metallic, more premium look to these guys than just the bare bones figure. And that about does it for this review here. Obviously, I really could say you could probably pass on this release because it's carbonized, especially with it being plastic-free packaging. There's really not much incentive to really open this thing up. I don't think either of these figures are a massive upgrade over the existing releases of the figures, so you could probably pass on one and not feel like you're missing out. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. Make sure to check me out on social media. All the links are in the description below. Guys, thanks for checking out this review. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.